Fiat money represents a significant departure from traditional forms of currency. Unlike its predecessors, fiat money isn't backed by a physical commodity like gold or silver. It's not tied to something tangible that holds inherent value. This makes it quite different from what people used as money for centuries. Its value is derived from government decree, meaning the government declares it to be legal tender, and from public trust, the collective belief that it will be accepted as a medium of exchange. This trust is crucial. Without it, the system could falter. Unlike gold or silver coins, which possess intrinsic value due to their inherent properties and scarcity, fiat money has no intrinsic value. A piece of paper in and of itself is not worth much. It's valuable because the government says so, establishing it as the official currency within its jurisdiction. This legal framework is a cornerstone of the fiat system, and people accept it for payments, knowing that others will also accept it, and for taxes because the government mandates its use for fulfilling tax obligations. This widespread acceptance reinforces its value. For most of history, money was a tangible good with inherent value, such as gold, silver, or even commodities like salt or beads. These items were valuable in their own right, regardless of their use as currency. Under the gold standard, which was prevalent in many countries for a significant period, each dollar or pound represented a specific amount of gold held in reserve. This created a direct link between the currency and a physical asset. This system had the effect of limiting how much money could be created, as the amount of currency in circulation was directly tied to the amount of gold held by the government or central bank. Governments couldn't just print more money at will to finance spending or stimulate the economy. They needed more gold first, either through mining, trade surpluses, or other means of acquiring the precious metal. This enforced fiscal discipline as governments were constrained by their gold reserves and couldn't simply inflate the currency to cover their debts. The shift to fiat money, particularly after the collapse of the Bretton Woods system in the 1970s, removed this constraint. This pivotal change allowed central banks to create new money electronically, often with just a keystroke, without the need for underlying gold reserves. This flexibility lets governments manage economies more easily, allowing them to respond to recessions, stimulate growth, and control inflation through monetary policy. But it also introduces risks, such as inflation, currency devaluation, and the potential for economic instability if the money supply is mismanaged. The value of fiat money now depends entirely on trust in those who issue it, the central bank and the government, and their ability to maintain its stability and purchasing power. Hard money like gold is scarce, its supply limited by geological constraints and the costs of extraction, and its value is primarily market-driven, determined by supply and demand. In contrast, fiat money's value is imposed by authority, backed by the power of the state and the legal framework it establishes. Fiat money is as much a political tool as an economic one, giving governments significant control over the economy and the financial system. This transition from market-discovered, commodity-backed money to government-issued fiat money has had profound consequences for the global economy and the relationship between governments and their citizens. It's changed not just our wallets, affecting how we save, spend, and invest our money, but the very fabric of society, influencing everything from economic inequality to political stability and the role of government in our lives. Understanding this shift from commodity-based to fiat currency is key to understanding the modern world and the complex forces that shape our economies and societies. For over a century, the gold standard provided global monetary stability, a system where a country's currency was directly linked to a fixed quantity of gold. This meant that the value of a nation's money was directly tied to its gold reserves, creating a sense of security and predictability in international finance. Currencies were pegged to gold, making exchange rates predictable and fostering international trade. Businesses could engage in cross-border transactions with confidence, knowing that the relative value of currencies would remain stable. This predictability was a cornerstone of global economic cooperation. This system disciplined governments' overspending led to a loss of gold reserves, forcing fiscal responsibility. Governments were compelled to manage their budgets prudently, as excessive spending could lead to a depletion of their gold reserves and a weakening of their currency. This acted as a natural check on government extravagance. The world wars changed everything. The immense costs of these global conflicts strained the gold standard to its breaking point. To fund massive military efforts, governments suspended gold convertibility and printed money, a practice that would have been impossible under the strict rules of the gold standard. This marked a significant departure from the established monetary order. After Wattu, The Bretton Woods Agreement pegged the US dollar to gold, establishing a new international monetary system, and other currencies to the dollar, but this system was flawed, as it relied heavily on the stability and strength of the US economy. The US printed more dollars than it had gold, fueled by ambitious domestic programs and escalating military expenditures, especially during the Vietnam War, and domestic spending booms, putting immense pressure on the dollar's convertibility. Other countries, sensing the imbalance, demanded gold for their dollars, draining US reserves at an alarming rate. This created a crisis of confidence in the dollar and the entire Bretton Woods system. In 1971, President Nixon ended dollar-gold convertibility, a decision that reverberated throughout the global financial landscape. The Nixon shock, a move that effectively closed the gold window and ushered in a new era of floating exchange rates, severing the last link between money and gold and fundamentally altering the nature of international finance. The world entered a new era, a period of unprecedented monetary flexibility and volatility. A global fiat standard with no currency backed by a physical commodity, its value determined solely by government decree and market forces. Now, money's value is set by government policy and market trust, influenced by a complex interplay of economic indicators and geopolitical events. Not by gold. The implications of this shift are still being debated and analyzed today. This was a monumental shift, giving governments and central banks unprecedented control over the money supply and interest rates. The anchor of gold was gone, removing a significant constraint on government spending and monetary policy, replaced by a system open to manipulation, speculation, and the potential for unchecked inflation. The 1971 break set the stage for the economic trends of the last 50 years, including increased financialization, globalization, and the rise of complex financial instruments. The consequences of this shift are still unfolding today, shaping our understanding of money, value, and the role of government in the economy. The fiat system unleashed a massive expansion of the money supply. No more gold meant no more hard limits. Governments could now finance spending by creating new money not just through taxes or borrowing. This led to exponential growth in currencies like the US dollar and the euro since 1971. More money chasing the same goods causes inflation. Your money buys less over time. Inflation isn't an accident, it's built into the fiat system. Prices rise not because things are more valuable, but because money is worth less. Inflation acts as a hidden tax, eroding savings. Easy money also fuels debt. Governments, corporations, and individuals borrow more, creating a fragile, debt-driven economy. Booms and busts become the norm as artificial growth leads to inevitable crashes. Each crisis is met with more money printing, deepening the cycle. The result, perpetual instability, rising debt, and chronic inflation. The fiat standard traps us in a cycle of economic fragility. Central banks target a steady 2% inflation rate, claiming it's healthy for the economy. But this policy guarantees your money loses value every year. Compounding cuts your purchasing power in half in 35 years. Savers are punished, debtors rewarded, saving in cash becomes a losing game. To keep up, people are forced to invest in risky assets, turning everyone into a speculator. This casino-like economy is a direct result of fiat policy. Inflation also helps governments manage debt. They repay with devalued money, quietly defaulting on obligations. The real cost is borne by workers and savers, whose wealth is transferred to the government. The 2% target isn't about economic health, it's about sustaining a system built on debt and spending. Inflation is a slow, silent theft from the public. The system is designed to erode your wealth over time. The logic behind fiat money has also shaped our food. Enter fiat food. Fiat food is industrial, processed, engineered for shelf life, and stripped of nutrition. Think sugary cereals, processed meats, and packaged snacks. Like fiat money, it's disconnected from natural sources and real value. Industrial food prioritizes profit and scale over quality and health, using cheap ingredients and additives. Monoculture farming and heavy processing yield calorie-dense but nutrient-poor products. The promise was cheap, abundant food, but quality was sacrificed for quantity. We traded real, nutrient-dense foods for empty calories and convenience. The result? A diet that undermines long-term health. The parallels between fiat money and fiat food are striking and damaging. Fiat money and fiat food are deeply connected, both driving a decline in public health. As money loses value, people turn to cheaper, processed foods. Nutritious options become unaffordable. This shift fuels a global epidemic of chronic diseases: obesity, diabetes, heart disease, Our bodies aren't built for constant processed sugars and industrial oils. The healthcare system treats symptoms, not causes, creating a cycle of illness and dependency. Profits flow to food and pharmaceutical giants, while individuals suffer. The fiat standard made the fiat food system possible. Devaluing money led to devalued food. Cheap calories replaced real nutrition, prioritizing short-term convenience over long-term health. The result: a population overfed, undernourished, and chronically ill. Our health crisis mirrors the decline in our money and food. Both fiat money and fiat food systems are designed to create dependence. In the fiat monetary system, you rely on central banks and financial markets to protect your savings from inflation. Your financial security is at the mercy of policy decisions and market swings. The fiat food system makes you dependent on global supply chains and corporations for daily sustenance. Skills and knowledge about real food production are lost, leaving you vulnerable to disruptions. Convenience comes at the cost of autonomy and resilience. The result is a life of financial anxiety and declining well-being. Processed food provides calories, not true nourishment, leading to chronic illness and low energy. The pleasure of real food is replaced by fleeting gratification from junk food. Together, these systems erode freedom, health, and fulfillment. Dependence is the hidden cost of the fiat world. To reclaim your financial freedom, opt out of the fiat system as much as possible. Don't use fiat money as a long-term store of value. Its design ensures it will lose purchasing power. Instead, choose hard money, assets that can't be created at will by governments. Gold has served as hard money for millennia, scarce, durable, and independent of government promises. Holding physical gold preserves wealth outside the banking system. In the digital age, Bitcoin offers a new form of hard money. Its supply is fixed, enforced by decentralized technology. No authority can inflate Bitcoin's supply, making it the hardest money ever invented. Saving in gold or Bitcoin is a vote for financial independence and a hedge against fiat instability. This shift requires a long-term mindset, prioritizing saving over spending and debt. Take responsibility for your financial future by holding assets that endure. Building wealth on hard money is an act of sovereignty. Protect yourself from the erosion of fiat currency. You can also opt out of the fiat food system by choosing real whole foods. Eat what comes from nature. Meat, fish, eggs, vegetables, fruits, and nuts, not factory-made products. Avoid foods with long ingredient lists and unrecognizable additives. Shorten your supply chain. Buy from local farmers, ranchers, and markets. Local food is fresher, more nutritious, and supports resilient communities. Reclaim your kitchen. Learn to cook simple meals from scratch. Cooking gives you control over your health and ingredients. Processed foods are convenient, but come at the cost of nutrition and well-being. Prioritize long-term health over short-term convenience. Investing in real food pays lifelong dividends. Just as hard money secures your finances, real food secures your health. Rejecting fiat food is a step toward vitality and autonomy. Reclaim your plate, reclaim your life. The fiat standard, with its inflationary nature, has systematically devalued our money over time. It's a subtle erosion of your purchasing power, impacting everything from your daily expenses to your long-term savings. This manipulation of currency has also distorted our economy, creating artificial booms and inevitable busts. It fosters an environment of instability, where true value is obscured and long-term planning becomes increasingly difficult. And the pursuit of cheap, mass-produced goods has degraded our food, filling our plates with processed ingredients devoid of essential nutrients. This has led to a decline in public health and an increase in diet-related diseases. These aren't separate problems. They're deeply interconnected symptoms of abandoning sound money principles and a commitment to real, nourishing food. They represent a systemic shift away from genuine value and towards short-term gains. But you have the power to change your life, starting today. You have the agency to make choices that reclaim your financial well-being and your physical health. Choose what kind of money you save in. Make informed decisions about where you store your wealth, opting for assets that hold their value over time, and choose what kind of food you eat. Prioritize whole, unprocessed foods that nourish your body and support your overall health. Millions making these conscious choices can spark a bottom-up revolution, shifting the paradigm towards a more sustainable and equitable future. Fix the money. Move your savings from depreciating fiat to hard assets like gold and Bitcoin. These assets have the potential to preserve your wealth and protect you from the ravages of inflation. Adopt a long-term mindset. Save, invest, and build resilience. Think beyond immediate gratification and focus on creating a secure and prosperous future for yourself and your loved ones. Fix the food. Reject industrial products laden with artificial ingredients and devoid of nutritional value. Return to real, whole, local foods. Support local farmers and producers who are committed to providing healthy, sustainable options. This rebuilds your health and energy for a full life, allowing you to pursue your passions and live life to the fullest. By fixing money and food, you reclaim autonomy and health, empowering yourself to live a more independent and fulfilling life. And your future. You take control of your destiny and create a brighter tomorrow. You move from dependence to strength and sovereignty, becoming the master of your own domain. This isn't just personal, it's about building a better world for future generations, leaving behind a legacy of health, wealth, and freedom. A world based on sound money and real food is more prosperous, fostering economic stability and opportunity for all, healthy and free. It's a world where individuals can thrive and communities can flourish. The choice is yours. Start today, take that first step towards a better future, and build on a solid foundation, creating a life of lasting value and genuine fulfillment.